He was what's called a Leela avatar, an incarnation of the Lord who comes to perform Leela or pastimes. And his pastimes are very wonderful and also full of so much pathos and emotion. If you read the Ramayana of Sri Valmiki, which is a very old scripture, Lord Ramachandra appeared in the Treta Yuga, so that was at least 1.2 million years ago. If you count, perhaps not quite that long, but because the Dwapara Yuga is about 880 million years ago, and that is how old the scripture is, the Valmiki Ramayana. Although modern scholars, because their mundane vision is covered by the material energy, they don't understand that. They say, oh yes, Ramayana, it is, perhaps a couple thousand years BC, or maybe up to 400 AD. They say like that. But what do they know? Avajananti mam mudha manusham tanamashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta ishram. They don't know anything about God and his pastimes. And they speculate and they make up things like the Proto-Indo-European language, which is supposed to be the origin of all languages, but which there is zero evidence that such a language ever existed. But the real mother of all languages is the Sanskrit language, which is spoken on the heavenly planets. It's called Devanagari. It's spoken by the denizens of the heavenly planets, and it dates from at least the beginning of this universe. So that's quite old, billions of years old. And of course, the four original Vedas, they are given at the time of creation. And also at the time of creation, there is one fantastic scripture called the Brahma Samhita, the Sri Brahma Samhita, which was spoken by Lord Brahma at the very time of his awakening, at the time of the creation of the universe. And originally Brahma Samhita is 100 chapters. Now we only have one of the chapters extant on this planet, although the other chapters are there in the heavenly planets. And on the higher planets, Mahar Loka, Tapa Loka, Jana Loka, the planets of the pious, elevated spiritual beings. And that chapter is chapter 5, which was almost lost also, but it was discovered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was doing his walking tour, his Padayatra of the Indian subcontinent, and he found that there in the Adikeshava temple in South India. So in the 39th verse of that 5th chapter, and Lord Brahma gives us some understanding of who is Lord Ramachandra, and in general about all the incarnations of the Lord. And Prabhupada comments in that section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita where it's described about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finding the chapter of the Brahma Samhita and had it copied and brought it with him back to Jagannath Puri. And that's the reason we have it today. And it passed through his descendants, especially Srila Jiva Goswami, down to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the spiritual master of our Srila Prabhupada, who translated the Brahma Samhita into English and wrote a commentary on English. So in that 39th verse, Lord Brahma says, Ramadi Murti Shukalani Yamena Tishtam Namnamatara Makaroda Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramam Pamanjo Govindamari Purusham Amaham Bhajami. So there are many incarnations of the Lord, beginning with, he cites Ramadi, Rama, Lord Rama, and other incarnations. There are so many, and they descend from time to time into this world. They come from the spiritual world and they descend into this material world for the enlightenment of the conditioned souls, and also to give pleasure to the devotees, and also to protect the devotees, and to annihilate the miscreants. That's explained in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Paritranaya sadhanam, vinashaya chaduskritam, dharma samsthapanartaya, sambhavami yuge yuge. In every yuga, time and again, the Lord comes to paritranaya sadhanam, give protection to the devotees of the Lord, the sadhus, and vinashaya chaduskritam, to annihilate the miscreant class. And one of the greatest of the miscreant class was a big demon known as Ravana. Even his very name, Ravana, invokes fear. And he was giving great trouble to the denizens of the universe. And the demigods were all very upset with him. And they prayed for the Lord to appear and dispatch this wicked Ravana. It turns out that this Ravana is actually a great devotee. There are 2 devotees, the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, named Jai and Vijay. And one time the 4 Kumaras, who were sons of Lord Brahma, appeared at the gates of Vaikuntha. And because they're eternal brahmacharis, they don't want not to get entangled in the material existence. They appear as 5-year-old boys, walking naked, as little children can easily do, and no one would become upset. But Jai and Vijay, somehow or other, they stopped them. You cannot enter. Who are you little naked boys? You cannot come into Vaikuntha. This is the abode of the Lord. But the Kumaras are greatly advanced spiritual personalities. And they became angry with Jai and Vijay, and they cursed them. Cursed them to go take birth in the material world. Oh no. And then the Lord Narayan, the Lord of Vaikuntha, came there to see what was the situation. And he resolved the situation. He gave the Jai and Vijay a choice. You can take 7 births as devotees. So you can be nice devotees, even though in the material world. Or you can take 3 births as demons. So they chose to take the 3 births as demons. Because the quicker we get out of these births and out of this material world and back to our positions in the Vaikuntha, the better. And so it is the pastime of the Lord. Sometimes he likes to fight, but he just doesn't want to fight with anyone. So he decided that in these 3 demon births, he would fight with Jai and Vijay and kill them, dispatch them. So they came as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, who were dispatched respectively by Lord Nrsimha, the half-man, half-lion incarnation, who we have worshipped here on the altar. Look at the lights on the altar. Turn on the lights. And then came again as Ravana, who was dispatched by Lord Ramachandra and his brother Kumbhakarna. And then they came again as Shishupal and Dantavakra in Krishna Leela, who were both killed by Krishna. And then they were allowed to return to their position in the spiritual world. Although some say that in the pastime where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu liberates the 2 rascals, what names? Yes, Jagadananda and Madhavananda, who are known as Jagai and Madhai, rapists, murderers, robbers, drunkards, really bad guys. And they were given the mercy of Lord Chaitanya by Nityananda Prabhu. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with the Sudarshan Chakra to cut off their heads, and Nityananda said, no, my Lord, in this incarnation, your business is not to kill the demons, but to deliver them by making them into devotees through the chanting of the holy names. So they became great devotees by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, who is none other than Balaram. And so that is a wonderful pastime in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So in this particular appearance, we're speaking of Lord Ramachandra and Ravana and Kumbhakarna, who made their residence on the island of Sri Lanka which for many years was known as Ceylon during the British era. So Lord Ramachandra appeared with his three brothers, who we just heard earlier about. Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrughna. So it turns out these four, Ram, Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrughna, were actually manifestations of the Chatur Vyuha expansion of the Lord. Lord Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, as we referred to earlier in the Brahma Samhita. Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramam Pumam Yo. He is Swayam Bhagavan, the original personality of Godhead. But he expands himself into many different forms for the purposes of his pastimes and for the creation of the world and so many other different things. So Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. His first expansion is Lord Balaram. And then Lord Balaram expands himself as Vasudev, Pradyumna, Sankarshan, and Aniruddha. And so those four, that fourfold expansion of the Lord came as Ram, Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrughna. And we heard earlier this morning in our morning class how Lakshman, sometimes he had to do so many things to carry out the order of Lord Rama as a subordinate. So he told Lord Rama at the end of their pastimes, next time I'm coming as the older brother. You're the older brother, you're ordering me around, I have to do so many things. Next incarnation, I'm going to be the older brother, which he did. He came as Lord Balaram, the elder brother of Lord Krishna. Such are the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, wonderful and full of ecstatic spiritual emotions and exchanges. And the Lord, he performs his wonderful pastimes, and he achieves so many different things with these pastimes. One of the things that he does is he attracts the conditioned souls, ourselves, to his pastimes. And when we hear and chant about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, then we forget about all mundane considerations and we become absorbed in Krishna consciousness. And thus we can return back home, back to the spiritual world. It's explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadju Kabunai Travanade Shuri Chitte Koraye Udai. That Krishna Prema, love of God, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadju Kabunai, it is eternally established in the heart of the living entity. But when we look in our hearts now, we do not find that Krishna Prema. We find something else. What is that we find? Who can say? Anyone? Yes. Lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, and envy. That's what we find lying in our hearts. And we feel so burdened by these things, and they prevent us from experiencing our true spiritual nature. It's like a covering of dirt of the heart. But when you wash away that dirt, then you're left with the pure spiritual existence. And the process of Krishna consciousness through chanting of the holy names is that cleansing process, which clears away the dust of the contamination of our so many millions and billions of births under the shelter of Maya in the material energy where we are right now. And then when we become purified and wash away all those contaminations, we're left with our pure spiritual self, who is Sat, Chit, and Ananda, full of knowledge, eternal, and blissful, Ananda. So by hearing about the pastimes of the Lord, like the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra and his being banished to the forest, and then having Sita kidnapped, Sita his eternal consort. He is Narayan and she is Lakshmi, Lakshmi Narayana. Sita Ram, Radha Krishna. This is the Lord and his internal potency. Radharani is the original internal potency of the Lord, the Hladini Shakti. And from her expand all the goddesses of fortune. So Krishna is the original Purusha, and Radha is the original Shakti, the original male and female. It's not very well understood by the conditioned soul, because we think in terms of these bodies and how we want to enjoy the bodies of the opposite sex, or at least that used to be the case. Now who can say what is what? Now they have pronouns that are different than he and she. You know, he, she, they, it. You know, there's one joke like that. He, she, and then you see someone that you can't tell, and you go, she, it. So this is going on in contemporary society, where people have lost their decency and their moral compass, and have become completely covered over by the material energy. That is the nature of Kali Yuga. And it gets worse. It gets a lot worse than it is now, even though it's pretty bad. All the more reason for us to want to hear and chant about the Lord, and then go back home, back to Godhead. So once Sita was kidnapped by Ravana, Lord Ramachandra made a great endeavor to find where she was and to retrieve her. And Ravana had a big, powerful kingdom with a giant, well-equipped army. And Ramachandra was just him and Lakshman. So they teamed up with the Vanaras, the monkeys, Bali and Sugriva, and amongst their ranks was Hanuman, the great devotee of the Lord. And with their assistance and their weapons of tree trunks and boulders and other things, they came to the tip, Cape Comorin, the southern tip of India. And then there across the ocean is the island kingdom of Sri Lanka, where it remains today. And they had no way to cross the ocean. But Lord Ramachandra, because he's Bhagavan, he's God, he's Aishvarya, Sad Aishvarya Purna, he's complete with all opulences. So they built a bridge of stones across the ocean between that tip of South India and Lanka. And Lord Ramachandra, by his mystic potencies, made the stones float in the water, something that modern construction engineers cannot duplicate with all their technology and concrete and hydraulic equipment and engineering skills. Simply by his will, by his potency, the Lord made the boulders float on the surface of the ocean, and he was allowed to cross the ocean. Of course, the ocean itself cooperated. Lord Ramachandra was so angry when he came to the tip of the ocean, the tip of Cape Comorin, looking across the ocean toward Lanka. His eyes were so red hot that the waters of the ocean began to boil. And then the ocean personified came to him. My dear Lord, you're so angry, you're boiling the ocean and you're killing all the creatures. You're disturbing everything. Why don't you build a bridge? And I will help you. And you can go to Lanka and recover Sita from the great demon Ravana. So the Lord, he calmed his anger, and the ocean returned to normal ocean temperatures. But boy, talk about warming ocean temperatures and global warming. Imagine how hot that water was. It's like the El Nino to end all El Ninos. So he did go to Lanka, and Hanuman had previously gone there to determine Sita's location there. And then they engaged in a great battle. And then ultimately, Lord Ramachandra, he shot many arrows into the heart of Ravana, who had 10 hands and was very fearful and powerful. Actually, Ravana was such a demon that instead of performing pious activities to become elevated to the heavenly planets, he wanted to build a stairway. You may have heard of that. And she's buying the stairway to heaven. Right? You remember that from the 1970s? So So that was Ravana. He was the original Stairway to Heaven guy. And he kidnapped Mother Sita. And although she is the internal potency, the Shakti of Lord Rama, his property, his potency is energy. And that means that she is only meant to be enjoyed by the Lord. He wanted to take her and enjoy her for himself, which is the quintessential fault of the conditioned soul, that we want to take this material energy which belongs to God and we want to use it for our own gratification, not understanding well to whom it actually belongs. But Sri Ishopanishad instructs us, one of the 108 Upanishads, that you should only accept your quota for living, what is necessary, and everything else is given over to the service of the Lord. And that is the perfect arrangement for human society, as explained in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yagyartat karmano nyatra loko karmana bandhanaha dadaham karma konteya. What's the last one? Muta sangha samachara. Yeah, thank you. That's what I thought it was, so I didn't want to misquote it. So work, karma, everyone is doing some karma, doing some work. But yagyartat karmana nyatra, work as a sacrifice to God has to be performed. And then one can live happily in this world. But those who try to take the things of this world and enjoy them for themselves, then they are punished by the laws of nature. So one who is a devotee wants to take everything that belongs to Krishna and use that in Krishna's service, like this property, and the property on this side next door, and the property on the other side next door, which we have acquired for the service of Krishna to build a wonderful new temple for the Lord's pleasure. It is all meant to be engaged in his service. All of Blackledge, all of Euclid, all of First Avenue, it all belongs to Krishna, but that is generally not recognized. But the Krishna conscious movement means to take everything of this world and use it in the service of God. So there was one other nice pastime of Lord Ramachandra that we saw depicted in the dance by Chandrika. When he was taken, him and Lakshman were taken by Vishwamitra Muni to help dispatch some demons. And then when they were going to return to Ayodhya, at that time Lord Rama was 16 years old. And then they heard about this big sacrifice being performed by the father of Sita, Maharaj Janaka, who is mentioned as in the Srimad Bhagavatam as one of the 12 Mahajans, or great authorities on spiritual life. Prahlada Janaka Bhishmo, Janaka Maharaj. He wanted to marry his daughter Sita and find a suitable candidate. And he had this giant bow of Lord Shiva that was so big it took 800 men to carry it. And so he made the stipulation that whoever can string the bow can marry my daughter. So many, many suitors, because Sita was the most beautiful woman in the world. Of course, she's not a woman of the world. She's a woman from the spiritual world. She's Lakshmi, the consort of the Supreme Lord. So we cannot imagine how beautiful she is. So all the Kshatriya princes wanted to marry her, of course. But no one could even lift the bow, what to speak of string it. And then 16-year-old Lord Ramachandra came there, and he picked up the bow. First of all, everyone was like, you see that? He picked up the bow, and then he drew back on the bowstring. And this is a giant bow. And the bow cracked in half. When it cracked in half, it made this huge sound. And everyone in the assembly hall, they had giant palace in assembly hall, everyone was knocked unconscious. There's a painting like that, shows everyone like on the ground, Lord Ramachandra holding the broken bow. So Maharaj Janaka, he said, okay, you can marry Sita. So that happened. Very nice pastime. I love that giant cracking sound. knocked everyone out, a giant concussion. So the pastimes of the Lord are so wonderful. And that love of Krishna, that love of God, it is there in our heart, but it is lying covered. So how to bring it out? Nityasiddha Krishna Prema Sadhu Kabunai. Yes, it is lying within the heart. It is, everyone has this love of Krishna dormant. How to bring it out? Shravanadi, Shuddha Chitte Karude Udai. By hearing and chanting Shravanadi, Shuddha Chitte, the consciousness becomes Shuddha, purified. And then one begins to gain realization of one's true, eternal, spiritual nature, which is experienced by everyone who comes in contact with the Krishna conscious movement and takes seriously to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. It is not some idle game we play, but it is a serious practice of yoga. It is the most serious practice of the most intense kind of yoga that can be performed by the living entity, bhakti yoga. Shravanadi Shuddha Karuya Udai. Then that love that is lying hidden deep within the heart begins to manifest in our lives. And as a result, we come in contact with the Lord and we experience that love. And then our spiritual existence begins to blossom like the opening of a lotus flower. So that is the Krishna consciousness movement. Therefore, it is very auspicious appearance days of the Lord like today, in which we glorify the Lord and we hear his pastimes and we chant the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and who? Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Lord Rama, this is a principal name of the Lord. There are primary names of the Lord and secondary names of the Lord. So Krishna and Rama are primary names of the Lord. And above all the names of the Lord, the name Krishna is the most important and the most powerful. I'm just going to read this one verse that was being chanted during the dance. It is from the Das Avatar Stotra by Sri Jayadev Goswami, in which each verse of the 10, the Das Avatar, the 10 important incarnations of the Lord ends, Jai Jagadish Hare, all glorious to the Lord of the universe. So this verse, number 7, describing Lord Ramachandra, Vitarasi Dikshu Rani Dikpati Kamaniyam, Darshamukha Mauli Bhalim Ramaniyam, Keshavatrita Rama Sharira, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Ramachandra, all glories to you. In the battle of Lanka, you destroy the 10-headed demon Ravana and distribute his heads as a delightful offering to the presiding deities of the 10 directions, a feat long desired by them all, the demigods, whom that monster had much harassed. And such a bold demon as to kidnap Mother Sita, the eternal consort of the Supreme Lord, Sri Ramachandra Bhagavan. Okay, thank you very much. And now we're having Abhishek. We're on schedule?
Yes.
We're behind schedule?
On schedule.
Okay. Right on. So thank you all very much. All glories to Lord Rama. And may everyone be blessed with the love of Krishna and Rama manifesting in their heart by serving the Lord, hearing his holy name, chanting his holy name, hearing from the Shastras, associating with devotees, and last but not least, taking of the Mahaprasadam, food cooked with love and offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama.
Boleh itu gara-gara. Last one. रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम 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 रघुपति राघव राजा राम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम 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 जय सीताराम 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 जय सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम 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 जय सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम हे राम हे राम हे राम हे राम हे जग में सच तेरो नाम जग में सच तेरो नाम हे राम हे हे राम हे हरे श्याम राधे श्याम हे राम सीताराम हे राम तू ही माता तू ही पिता है तू ही तो है राधा का श्याम तू ही तो है राधा का श्याम हे राम 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 तू ही बिगड़ तू ही सवरे तू ही बिगड़ तू ही सवरे इस जग के सारे काम इस जग के सारे काम हे राम हे राम राम हे राम अंतर्यामी सबका स्वामी तू अंतर्यामी सबका स्वामी तू ही सुबह तू ही शाम तू ही सुबह तू ही शाम मेरे राम राजा राम हे राम राजा राम हे राम हे राम बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम जय राम बोलो बोलो राम जय राम बोलो बोलो राम जय राम जन्म सफल होगा रे बंदे मन में राम बसाले मन में राम बसाले राम नाम की मोती को सांचों की माला बना ले मन में राम बसाले बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम पतित पावन करुणा कर और सदा सुख दाता सरस सुहावन अति मन भावन राम से प्रीत लगा ले मन में राम बसा ले बोलो राम जय राम बोलो बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम बोलो राम जय राम बोलो मोह माया है झूठा बंधन क्या मुझसे तो पानी राम नाम के जो दिल जला कर अपना भाग्य जगा ले मन में राम बसा ले बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम भजन में दुख के अपना निर्मल कर ले खाया राम नाम से प्रीत लगा के जीवन पार लगा ले मन में राम बसा ले बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम जय राम बोलो राम बोलो राम जय 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 हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Let's go slow. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Govinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hare